TikTok is just not good to monetize for coaches. TikTok's just made for entertainment. The amount of money you can make with 10K followers on Twitter versus 10K followers on TikTok, it's like 0 on TikTok and 30K a month on Twitter. The difference in platforms for coaches, I just talked to a big Instagram guy for coaches. I do Twitter. You're going on all the platforms now as well. Basically Instagram versus YouTube versus TikTok versus Twitter, and their differences for online coaches or even online business in general. Because something I've been seeing, and I came to this conclusion because I've been redoing my website and my VSL. So I've had to think a lot about my clients' pain points, right? And I have a significant other who's a coach as well. So we think about this a lot. And I think Instagram seems to be where it's like highly monetizable, but becomes very streaky. Like you'll have a good streak and then 1 month and then the next month it'll just be gone. And then I'll look at TikTok and I'm just like, TikTok is just not good to monetize for coaches. It's just like not good at all. There's no.
What do you think that is?
I think it's just one. I think TikTok's just made for entertainment. I really do. I think it's also the younger generation in general.
Did you know that on TikTok you can speed up the TikToks now?
Of course, it's like already 10 seconds.
Bro, it's like you can speed up a 10-second TikTok.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah, and
that's
I used
horrible
to make
attention
TikToks
span.
like in 2021, I went like 0 to 10K followers in TikTok really fast, making like crypto and day trading videos, and like I never made $1 off of it. It's just like the amount of money you can make with 10K followers on Twitter versus 10K followers on TikTok. It's like $1 or $5 per follower on Twitter and like 0.01 on TikTok.
Oh, that's a good point. So we can illustrate it. So how much did you make with 10K followers on TikTok and 10K followers on Twitter?
Yeah. So 0 on TikTok and 30K a month on Twitter.
Well, there you go. And how many followers? 10K?
At 10K, both 10K.
Yeah, well,
But
yeah, it's
obviously
huge.
the caveat is you could say like me in 2021 had no business acumen. I knew how to go viral, but like and now I have all the business side, so I know how to monetize. But on TikTok, it's just like everyone's TikTok is made to drive traffic elsewhere. It's just made for eyeballs. Like the most money ever made on TikTok is just from people who sell like sponsorships. You know,
Isn't it like e-com, like really viral videos about like
UGC,
products?
yeah,
Yeah.
e-com. That's how I'd see it. Like I've had clients who have gone viral on TikTok and just like nothing converts. It's like it's pretty much all influencer marketing. It's not really like business coaching and funnels and stuff.
Right.
That being said, then I look at YouTube and I think this is a long-term play, but it scales the highest. YouTube scales forever. Right, you can literally scale to $1 billion on YouTube if you look at Mr. Beast. Like
YouTube's incredible.
he's incredible. He's one of my biggest
best one.
Yeah,
Like Mr. Beast and YouTube, like both, right?
only
And
platform you can scale to $1 billion. I'll say that.
what do you say? What do you think? That
I don't think there's no one else on any platform that's ever scaled to $1 billion that I know of, because of their social media presence. Right, that's it.
I'd say it'll be interesting if you factor in the networking effects on Twitter. It might be,
Yeah.
but also you could make the same argument for Facebook. Oh, we're Facebook friends, so Facebook's
you could
attributed
argue,
with
like,
it, so it doesn't count.
There's probably some Twitter crypto NFT guru who scaled to $1 billion in shitcoin pump and dumps on Twitter. Yeah, but if we're talking legit ethical business, I'm gonna go YouTube. And then I think Twitter is like the highest sophistication, highest like IQ user platform. I think you have the highest dollar per follower or maybe second behind YouTube, but Twitter. Daniel Fazio put it right. He said Twitter works fast, but it doesn't scale crazy hard, whereas YouTube works slow, but it scales infinitely, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's my
it's,
thing with Twitter is like you're investing in the platform. It's early, right? It's early.
You know what that reminds me of? I was listening to Andrew Wilkinson say that there's like two kinds of startups. There's like the speedboat kind of startups, and then there's like the commercial cruise kind of startups, right? So the speedboat, it goes fast. It can get bumpy, but it can get you there, right? So like to me, that's Twitter. Twitter is very like, if you attach your emotional state to how well your tweets do, you're gonna have a roller coaster of a time. It's gonna be not fun, but like it's very up and down, right? Whereas YouTube, it's like consistent, right? It's like this huge thing that it's kind of hard to fuck up if you keep doing it, but eventually like you get there. And one of the other theories I had for this, it's sometimes I feel like did I talk about like Twitch streamers versus TikTok on the last podcast? Did I talk about it?
No,
Well,
but I would love to hear what you have to say.
yeah. So about that, I feel like the brand you have or the quality of followers you have, it's kind of very correlated to how much time people spend with you. So why is TikTok followers not as valuable as, for example, Twitch streamers? Because Twitch streamers, you spend 3-4 hours with the person. Whereas on TikTok, it's 10 seconds. You don't even know who that person is. That's also the move with this podcast. Remember, like the move for Twitter, I feel like for this, it's for Twitter, I feel like we should do Twitter to be well known. Whereas for podcasts and YouTube, we should do them to be known well. It's deeper, right? So I feel like that's the move for this, because you're going to be in people's ears for hours, right? They're going to feel like they know us, and that builds the brand equity that brings up the parasocial relationships between people.
And I'd say like this, just to go back to it, is like I think of my friend Don Vo, right? He's a day trading YouTuber. He live streams every day for the last 2.5 years for 4 hours a day. And he's only has 50,000 YouTube subscribers, but 2,000 to 3,000 people show up every day to that stream to watch him for 4
That's
hours.
huge. That's a huge percentage.
Thousands of hours. If you go to his Twitter, he's got less followers than me. Every tweet gets 1,000 likes, 500 likes. Every tweet. Like if he tweets anything, if he tweets like I like bananas, he's getting 300 likes, like cult following. But it's because he spends so much. It's like a family, right? He spends so much time with his audience. And it's just like all day, every day, 5 days a week for years, right? Like I think that's
they're your friend. They're essentially your friend. Like if you meet them up, you kind of, it's like not the first time you meet up. You know what I mean?
He's doing a meetup this summer, and he sold it's 75 tickets. He opened it up, 30 minutes gone. He done
no
another.
way. How many followers?
He's on Instagram. He's got like 77,000, but on YouTube 50K, and then Twitter 13K.
How many people do you think on Twitter with 50K followers can sell out an event, like a physical event? I don't think many. Like
only literally probably like the CA guys are like the only proven guys who can sell out an event.
Yeah, like
that's it.
Yeah, so it's like, again, likes and cash, right? Followers ain't I don't know, recognition, I guess. Followers ain't like relationships, and followers in brand. We'll call it that. I tested your case study. I want to talk about that. I tested your case study format. Yeah. So you mentioned about how, because you recorded a case study that I thought in the beginning was kind of shit, honestly, but then I was like, yo, this actually worked. And I asked you on the first one, why, right? So do you want to talk about the case study, and maybe I can loop into what I tried?
Yeah. So the case study, the format of the case study was essentially I led with the result. We made 100K a month on Twitter for a client. I basically led with the result, talked all about what we did at the beginning for results. I laid out a quick 3-step process for how we did it. And then the entire ending was more stats, return on ad spend, how much we made, how much collected, all of those sales numbers. And then I just said, book a call.
How long was it, and what percentage of strategies did you include?
Yeah, so percentage of strategies, probably like 1% was strategy. No, it's like less than half of it was strategy, and then more than half of it was results. In terms of the percentage of what we actually do for people, it was like 1%. We gave away like 1% of the secrets.
Yeah, because they don't care.
Pure curiosity piquing.
Yeah, they don't care, right? So I thought I've been recording like hour-long case studies with the clients, but then I saw what you did, and I'm like, let me try the 99% results, 1% value email. So like, because one of the goals of this podcast is to be like really in depth and tell you what's working, let me read you the email that actually booked 3 times as many calls as the past case study. So it goes like this. It's actually like a few sentences long. So it's, you told me I could make 10K a month in 30 or 60 days. You were fucking right. That's a quote. This hits different because when Ivan and I met, he was struggling to find ways to support his family. He had 50K followers, couldn't monetize them properly, and he was concerned that his target market wasn't on Twitter. He doesn't even tweet in English, it's all Spanish. But after he installed the likes and cash funnel, worked on lead flow strategies at the lead flow workshop, and got clear on his offer with the offer coach, he doesn't respond to my text because he's now moving to a new house in Spain with his family. If you could use some help with your client business, pick a time here and we'll brainstorm a plan for you. 0 value.
Yeah.
But that yeah, exactly,
A
like
little
no
bit of a
value.
story, yeah.
Yeah, but it's all like, oh my god, this is so nice, right? And he was stuck, and I kind of addressed a few, like, I wanted to address some objections here, like, this is not random. By the way, I try to never include random problems on my copy. It's always got to be something that they have already said. So, for a lot of people say my target market isn't on Twitter, so I included. He was concerned that his target market wasn't on Twitter, right? So it's that is kind of I'd say the trick. But again, no value, and it worked
Yeah.
way better than
Yeah.
the other case studies. So I
You
don't know
know,
if the advice here is to create to
yeah.
deliver less value, but get
When,
better on copy, I guess.
Here's my theory around it too. It's like there's a couple things that go into this. One, on like a more macro, more relatable, like whenever I watch like a Mosey content, right? He talks all about people that he's talked to and companies that he's worked with that had a problem, and he talks about the solution. But he doesn't go in depth for an hour on his specific company. He doesn't even give away their identity, right? Like, so, and you still resonate with it, and he still builds plenty of authority. Then I think of another thing. I think of how people do case study interviews on their YouTube channel, right? In the first, with the thumbnail, the title, and in the first 2 minutes, you know exactly the transformation that person went through. 99% of people, that's all they clicked on for anyway. They just want to see that a tangible human being went through the transformation that you say that you can promise them. So my thought process is like, what is and I'm actually reading the Sam Walton thing right now, right? And
Is that the Walmart guy?
yeah, and he always he beats this down. He's like, if you lower the price, you can sell enough more to make more money than if you sold at the higher price, right? You sell so much more at the discounted price that you make more money than if you sold at the premium price. So I think of the same thing with case studies. Like, if you just provide less content, you're going to get more people to get through it and book a call than if you just provide the full, like if you convert 100% of the people on your 1 hour case study and it's only 10 people that watch it all the way through, where if I have a short 1 minute case study and I get 10,000 people to get through it and I only convert 10%, I still booked 1,000 and you booked 100, right? So
Works
that's
for
my
me.
thought process.
Yeah, and it's I didn't want to believe it at first because I was like,
Yeah.
they said lead with value, but maybe there's different kinds of value. It's not just information value; it's also make me believe value. So if you can make people believe, like the guy that's giving you the fitness tips didn't do as much as the guy that made you believe that you could get fit, because he's the reason why you started it. Even though it was just an inspirational quote, maybe belief value, information value. It's not that one is valuable and the other one isn't. They're just different. Which I wanted to talk to you about something. Yes, your threats. So you send me a few of your threats. Obviously, we're not gonna disclose to anybody, but bro, niche versus viral content, because
Right.
this was very interesting to me. What was interesting to me was how the content was kind of general. The CTA was low friction, and it was also very specific. So I don't want to give out the entire sauce or who it is, but like what is your thought process behind these kind of threads and call to actions? And if you could include
Yeah.
examples and stories, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So like I had this thought process months ago when I started like scaling my agency a bit. I just always thought how, and like this goes back to how you always said like it's hard to trust people who are like hardcore on one side or the other. Like most things require nuance, right? And I was confused at how either there was people that were writing only niche content and they swear by it and they say platitudes are stupid, because this was like a if you've been around the Twitter game, is like you've been through the waves, right? Everybody was on platitude land, and then everybody was on shit on the platitudes suck land, and I was like, maybe the answer is just like in the middle, right? And then so my thought processes was, if you're a niche all the way, you're not going to get enough organic reach to grow the brand enough in a short amount of time to keep the business alive, because you need revenue to keep the business alive to then to fund the actual content production in the first place, right? So my thought process was, if we can go viral enough to get eyeballs to then view our niche content, right? So we have the niche content and the viral content at the same time, then we can grow and get more eyeballs on our offer and still nurture them all at the same time, right? So that was my thought process. So for example, I have a client who sells a coaching program, right? And instead of doing just case study threads and sawdust and social proof and breakdowns of his exact method that he coaches, I was like, why don't I go a bit more general? Because 99% of, for example, Andrew Tate's content is mindset, right? But then he sells a course on crypto and day trading and e-com and stuff, right? I'm like, that didn't sit well with me. I'm like, how can he sell a course on businesses but just talk about masculinity all the time? But it works, right? He's doing $5 million a month. So I'm like, surely you got to talk about mindset a little bit. So then I just dabbled with it, kind of like a bar that you can put like 75% mindset and 25% tactics, and then like eventually I just landed in the middle. Just like, what if I could just do like a bunch of mindset and a bunch of niche content, and then get all the eyeballs and then convert all the eyeballs that way. So having a coach that talks about mindset, personal development, and all these things, but then also gives away the sauce and sells the implementation at the same time, I think that was the healthy balance that I landed on. And it was validated recently. One of my team members, which I want to talk about team and culture in a little bit. One of my team members sent me a thing of Gary Vee talking about it. And Gary Vee said, I think you should have some broad content as well because it's important because you want to grow. And that kind of just validated. We were like, well, yeah, like that's kind of what we landed on too.